Professor Andreas Toupadakis from the Department of Chemistry, UC Davis. Even though he is a chemical person, in 2012, he is lucky to meet our Chancellor, Amma. And from that time, based on Amma's instruction, he thought of starting a lecture series on the subject which he is going to talk today. And he has been very well appreciated and accepted by the students in US, especially those students who come to US for their higher studies. So today, we are also getting a chance to know more about that. So on your behalf and on behalf of international program, I invite Dr. Andreas to take over. Namaste Shivaya.
This is my fifth time. This is my fifth time in India. After a break of 2 years, I'm back again. And every time I come to India, I become very rich. I become very rich in every meaning of the word.
Excuse.
When I go back,
Sorry. I think you can use this if you are comfortable.
Okay.
Rather than that,
Okay.
because the volume is less.
okay.
Can you take it?
So every time I come, there are some changes that they take place. There are very subtle changes, invisible. But they manifest in a very apparent way, in a very actual way when I go back to my workplace and with my personal life. So I chose a topic that I would like to talk to you today. I will not tell you any new things. We all know these things. But I'm going to remind you some things, just like I like people to remind me. That is why I come to India, fifth time, and I plan to come every year, every summer. And I plan to come with some friends of mine, not just by myself, in the near future. Because we need to be reminded the things that we forget, which happen to be the most important thing to make our lives beautiful. So today's topic is success without stress. And I want you to try to put in your mental screen the definition of how you see it. What is stress? What is stress for you? We hear this word all over, all the time. And we tend to have, most of us, the wrong idea about it. It is very easy to get the wrong idea about it. And we need to be reminded. So again, I ask, what is stress for each one of you? Time? Time constraint. Okay. And what else? What did he say? Work balance, to balance social life, studying, and all kinds of things, right? Okay, what else? What else you would say that stress is? What did you say? Huh? Work overload? Okay. So that's what most of us will do when we try to define stress. We're going to mention outside factors that are bothering us. It could be mother-in-law, wife, husband, children, friends, boss, workload, as you said, and so on and so forth. But in reality, I invite you to really think about this. Is this the reasons, are these the reasons that we really are in stress? Or is it because of our inability to control our mind, our emotions, sometimes our bodies? What is it? And if it is true that it is our inability to manage our minds, our thoughts, our emotions, then in order not to be in a stress state, the only thing we need to focus is how to cultivate, how to follow principles, how to do different things every day, that we increase the degree of our ability to be able to handle our emotions and our minds. Isn't that true? So we need to always remember what stress is all about. It's not coming from outside. It is actually coming from within us. We have a choice to control it, to have that ability or not. And then we hear in the world we live in about success. He is successful. She is very successful. What is success for you? What do you want to have when you graduate from college? How would you see yourself after, 4 years, 3 years, whenever you graduate, go and get a job? When would you say, now I'm successful? We have the American dream, which has been exported to the whole world. We have many other dreams. What is your dream? How do you see yourself after a certain number of years having a job? And you would say, now I'm really successful. How do you see yourself to be? Tell me. I want to hear you. Because if you do not see yourself, envision yourself, most likely you will not get there. If you just keep being not focusing on what you want to see, it will happen by accident. And if it happens by accident. But it's important to have the right idea about what success is, because many times we think this is success, and we find out after a few years that we got the wrong idea about what success is. Right? And then we'll just start from the beginning again, almost like, looks like. So what is success for you? Huh? Having no regrets in life. Well, that's a pretty good definition. No regrets. Very good. What else? Fulfilling your wishes. Okay? Now, here we have to be knowing what the wishes are, because we do have many wishes, and sometimes our wishes are not really our wishes, but they have become our immediate people we live with wishes. Our teachers, society, parents, they are not truly our wishes. They are somebody else's wishes, and we have made to believe that they are ours. We really believe it. If anybody comes and tells us, that's not your wish, it's your parents' wish, we actually become very offended. We start to defend ourselves. I have seen that many times happen to my students. And after a while, they realize, actually, that was not me. I was made to believe this is what I want. So what the wishes are that will make us successful, we need to be very in great caution. What these wishes are our true wishes coming really from the deepest part of ourselves to fulfill our true needs, to use our true talents we have, or we're going to try to do something that we don't have the talents, or by doing it, we don't fulfill our mental, physical, and most importantly, emotional needs. So what else, how else would you define success? I want to hear more ideas, more how you see yourself to be successful. Come on, let's have a discussion. To be happy. All right.
So to learn from
Now-
our failures.
Now, to be happy is good, but is it going to be sustainable? I think everyone in this room would like to be happy all the time. Isn't that true? Is there anybody who wants to have today is happy and after 5 hours depressed, angry, confused, fearful, then again happy? Is there anybody who wants to do that? I don't believe there is anyone like this. Who wants to be depressed and angry and fearful and confused? Even for a few hours or minutes every day. So when we talk about happy, we're talking about sustainable happiness, not just a little bit and then boom, right? What else?
So to
You will
learn,
be successful if what?
so to learn from our failures.
Hmm?
To learn from our failures.
To learn from failure. So that is a key point in order to become successful, that you never look back and say, I wasted my time being with this friend or this relationship. I wasted my time because I went to school and I took this major and I changed my mind now. For a sincere seeker of truth and for a sincere person who wants to become successful, you will never hear, I wasted my time, or I regret this. You will only hear, I learned this from this experience. Because every experience, negative or positive, if we are willing, we learn something. So if you look at very successful people in the world, CEOs and leaders, true leaders, you will never ever hear them say words like, I regret, I failed, I wasted my time, and especially you will never hear them gossip. You will never hear them talk about other people, negative things about them. They will actually give what it is required to give praise to other people that they are doing good. These are the characteristics of great leaders and happy people, not just great leaders, but happy people. They can be very low, very invisible, but they will be happy people. So, as Amma says, and every wise teacher around the world is defining success, the most important thing is to be happy, sustainable happy, not just, all the time up and down, up and down. Yes, sometimes it will be lows, right? But the frequency is not going to be high, the intensity is not going to be great, and the frequency is going to be low. Yes, we have some loss in our lives every day. You can avoid it, right? But we don't want to have it too often, too intense, and lasting. Because this is happening in the Western countries especially, and it's coming really fast to all the rest of the countries. And when this happens, when you have it very frequently, it lasts for too long, and it's very intense, that is called clinically ill. That means you cannot get back easily, and you are there, which then people of your immediate environment, they take you and they tell you have to go to this place to get help. And that happens to a great extent in the West. I would say 60% and perhaps 65 to 70% people right now in the West, they do need a lot of help. Psychotropic drugs or psychotherapy or whatever. So we are at a point of history that we have done incredible miracles with science, but we have lost the balance, and we are now at the point we realize we need to bring balance. the physical sciences and non-physical sciences, since they have to be in balance. There is nothing wrong with physical science. There is nothing wrong with pleasure. There is nothing wrong with money. But what is your attitude? Why do you want to make money? And when you make them, for what are you going to use them? Are you going to use them to do what? For what? That is the questions that we need to ask. Because if we don't ask these questions, how I'm going to make money, in what way, and what I'm going to do with them after, that sustainable happiness is not going to come to near us. It's going to be very far from us. Just like Amma says, education is for two kinds, education for life and education for living. When you go to colleges today, not to Amrita University, but basically almost exclusively in any university in the world, what we're getting is education for living. In other words, a degree to be able to go and get a job. But even that, today's education, if you look around the statistics for young people, even that one is no guarantee at all. Many young people are looking for many, many years to find a job, and even if they do, the salary is tragic. Look at Greece right now, my home country. People graduate from college and they go and get jobs for 300 euros a month. People in Greece, they don't get married anymore. Young people, they completely avoid to get married. That's tragic for the country, the whole country, because they cannot have a job. Thousands of young people have left the country and they will never come back. This should not be happening to countries like India and Greece. Why? Because if you look 1,000 years ago, these two countries have brought light to the world. India brought the light to the east, and Greece brought the light to the west. Because of special circumstances, Greece now, this light is very diminished. It's almost sleeping and needs to be awakened. In India, it still is very bright. That is why millions of people, every year, they visit your country, because that light is still very bright. And I invite you to see the importance of keeping your tradition, your culture, your values, and not to be eaten up by the chaos of materialism. By this imbalance, you go to the university, you get your degree, you go and get a job, but please don't forget that happiness that you're looking for in a sustainable manner will only come if you maintain the principles that your thousands of years culture has fed the whole world. So there is some terms that I will just mention now, and then I will take questions, and I want you to keep these words in your mind. So maybe you can tune your questions towards that, but you're free to ask whatever you want. So to be in nature, in stillness, it is extremely powerful experience that can give you miracles, even now as a student, and any time in your life. I'm amazed. Wherever I go in India, I realize one thing. There's millions of people that they are entrepreneurs. Wherever you look, you see people extremely poor. They put a few pounds of apples or some candies, and they have a store. Okay? It's called intrapreneurship. The entrepreneurs. They don't have a capital of millions of dollars, maybe a few rupees, but they are risk takers, okay? And they're innovators. What happens is, I have observed this very much during my teaching years in Greece and in the United States. When young people go to the university, something happens. They become specialized on something. When something happens in the country and there's no jobs, let's say I finish a chemist. So I'm trained as a chemist. So I go around after 5 years, 4 years, and I'm looking for a job. I cannot find a job. So then I sit around, do like this, and I'm expecting my parents to feed me because I say I cannot find a job. This happens in many countries with young people. And many times, when there's no jobs, the anger goes to the government. They go on the city squares, they burn cars, they do all kinds of things, so the government will give them a job. But you know, this is not going to work, because the government is not going to bring resources from the sky. It's coming from among the people. So smart people, when they see this happening, they become risk takers. They become innovators. They do things that other people did not think, and they become actually rich. So right now, you go to Greece, which is financially basically destroyed, and you see people getting ideas with different products that never ever thought anybody to really process and make products, and they start doing new things, and they become very rich and very, very loved by the society, because what they give is hope to locality, to the people that they are depressed and they feel like committing suicide. They give them jobs. So it is extremely dangerous when you go to university to see your wings be cut. In other words, you believe you studied this and that's it. And if you don't find a job on that, then that's the end of the world. It's the end of the story. The main goal of education was, is, and will always be, regardless of what we have done today to education. And Vivekananda emphasized that in his speeches. The main goal of education is to see young people to be able to stand on their own feet after they go out of school. To be able to stand on their own feet. If education does not accomplish that, that has not accomplished its whole purpose. Yes, it is about open mind. Yes, it is about expansion of the intellect. And it is about character. But the main thing is about giving the trust in yourselves. And like I said, unfortunately, today's education, basically that's what it does. We take exams, we memorize things, we become high achievers, but in reality we are insecure high achievers. If we cannot find a job, the whole world collapses. In the West, people, when they go through trials like that, they become depressed and they're thinking about ending their lives. That should not be the case for young people. You should be able, when you graduate, if you don't find a job, to feel strong enough to do anything that is honorable, to earn a living. Why should one have a stand on the corner and sell some apples and be honored by his community and make a living and have a family? And why a student that graduates from university and has a degree sits around and you will say, I cannot find a job, I'm depressed. That should never happen to any one of you. And that is, we have to have an open mind. And we need to also learn some other things besides that which we are taught. I always say to my students, do not graduate these 4 years without learning something on the side of what you're studying. You are studying, let's say, to become an engineer or a medical doctor. Just go, learn how to cut hair. Learn how to serve in a hotel. Learn to cut wood, or learn something else. Something simple that you love to do. Maybe it's your hobby. Go and learn it in a more kind of official way. Maybe you can get a little degree for a few months. That will give you a lot of hope and a lot of faith that if things go wrong, then you can just use that to make to pay your bills. In other words, you prepare yourself, in case that something is not working, then you have the back burner, ready for you. Then I have a lot of students that they will come to my office, they will come to life career office hours, as we call these meetings. They will take the 2 seminars I was teaching for 10 years. I was teaching for 10 years, and they will take these seminars, they will take the principles, and they will do really well. Really well. And then suddenly, after a few years, we'll come back and say, Dr. Toupadakis, everything is destroyed. I'm on the floor. I'm bleeding. Nothing works for me anymore. What happened? And I looked at them and I said, yes, the principles I gave you work. They work for everybody. You know, you do meditation, you believe in God, or you're a compassionate person, doesn't matter. You will get strength. You will do a lot of things that other people cannot even imagine. But why are you doing these things? So I asked them, why do you think you failed? Why do you think eventually you became, down on the floor? Is it because what you did was only thinking of yourself? Is it? Because if that's the case, you know why it did not work. So that brings the concept of that concept for which Amma is very much emphasizing wherever she goes. She is the world leader ever and will be on compassion. Compassion in Greek is symbonia. It means you are merging with the pain of other people. And if you can merge with the pain of other people, then you can merge with the joy of other people. It means unity. Unity. 1 + 1 makes 1. And that is extremely powerful, as powerful as the whole universe. Wherever there is 1 + 1 makes 1, then there is an explosion. The whole universe knows about it. Not only it knows about it, but it is your best friend. And it will help you to accomplish the most impossible thing that you can ever think. I invite you to not be so afraid to give your time, to share your abilities, your time, yourselves with other people. And you will see the miracles that will happen in your lives. And the simplest thing that you can do is when you see someone who is depressed or he's going through such a hard time, whatever it is, you want to get out of your depression or depressive state or your sadness or whatever, just forget about a little bit yourself. Start looking at the other people. Say to them, I'm here to hear you. You don't have to do anything. Just say, I'm here, and I will be listening to you, whatever you say. I'm your friend. I'm going through the same thing. I want to hear you. Just forget yourselves for a while. And just think about other people. Then see what will happen. You want about success? Amma says, compassion is the foundation of peace. Peace, tranquility, silence, peace, relaxation. Isn't the most requirement to be able to be successful? Can a person be truly successful if he's not peaceful? If his mind is going up and down and being angry and being depressed, how can that be being successful? We know it's not easy to be successful when we are not relaxed, we are not peaceful. And if that's the case, then the source of all that success would be compassion. We hardly hear about compassion in the world. We hear about this and that, right? Controlling the mind, personal development. There is millions of books. There is thousands of teachers. There is a lot of movements. And they all do help people. Absolutely. They do help people. They make changes. But there are no permanent changes. After a while, people are coming back to the same denominator. They are still confused and fearful. They still make big mistakes. And they start again from the beginning. Maybe they will go now to a different teacher. They will read a new book. So all these things are good. They help humanity. They help us. But there is something much more powerful and much more sustainable. And that is if we cultivate compassion. And there are ways we can do that. There is practices that Amma is giving us. So a lot of you understand you are in the business school, right? And you care about management, right? But I want you to think about all the time corporate management versus personal management. Do you really believe that you will be able to manage people, to manage an enterprise tomorrow if you yourself cannot manage your own mind and your own body? I don't think you can really do it. And if it happens, it's going to be by accident. After a while, it's not going to be working. If you look around you and you see great leaders, very well respected, happy people, loved by their society. They are managing themselves pretty well. I will give you an example. I also gave it to the talk 2 days ago at Timade to students. There is an author, his name is Mark Albion, A-L-B-I-O-N. He wrote a book, it's called Making Life, Making a Living. He was in Harvard with a very high salary, business school, and he saw the benefit of balancing spiritual life and materialism, to balance these two things. So he started making new organizations, wrote books, made a beautiful cartoon, only 3-minute cartoon. It's called The Good Life. I would recommend you to see it. It portrays a graduate from Harvard Business School. It's very cute. You will never forget it. You just say, The Good Life, okay? The Good Life. And it's a 3-minute cartoon video. So there's a lot of people that they see without this balance between trying to make a living, and earn the degree and get a job. You have to have equally looking for to practice the principles that they will give you the stamina, they will give you the peace, the relaxation. Because if you are in that state of relaxation, as Amma says, all that infinite power within you, there is an infinite power within us. It will not spring out unless you're relaxed. Music is important. Do you take a drum to play the drum or any instrument? You start dancing a little bit by yourself for yourself. I have tried this, and in fact, one of the 2 freshman seminars I was teaching in the United States for 10 years, it was about music. But it was about self-awareness, but I was using music in both of the seminars, but a little bit more for the second seminar. What did I learn from it? Whenever I want to make decisions, very important decisions, or small decisions, and I cannot make them. I don't know, should I send this email or not? Should I talk to this person or not? Should I buy this or not? Many times we're stuck. We do not know what to do. And we try to find answers. We're like friends, family members. They speak out of their own fears and hopes. They speak out of their own experiences. But that's not you. You're a completely different story. How can you do that? You will not succeed by doing this. You get answers from within yourselves. So what do? I take my drum. I have in every room in my house a drum. I take a drum and I start listening to bhajans, start dancing a little bit, and I go in the groove. When I'm in that relaxation state, immediately I know what the answer will be for this particular decision. And it never failed. No matter what happens, which almost all the time succeeds, but even if it doesn't succeed, the beauty about it is there is no fear, no guilt, because it came from within you. We cannot control the whole world outside and get always what we want, but by getting decisions in this relaxed state, if you fail, there is no guilt or fear. You're just totally free. Pretty good deal, isn't it? So I invite you to try this. You see, you have so many enlightened beings in India. There's a lot of great saints. You go to their places, almost all of them, they use music. They use kirtan, bhajans. Why do you think? Just to have fun? No, they have fun, you have fun, but there is something else that's happening by immersing yourself into music. Very powerful. So we want in life to go from reaction to action. Because what we do, if we really are honest about ourselves and see how we do things every day, we react to things. We react to people. We react to the grades that you get. We react to the government decision about how many people to be laid off, or how many jobs were created. Okay, let's go and get the job. It's an opening. Is that job for you? Will that serve your needs, your emotional needs, your values? If not, it is better to wait. If you wait, listening to the highest part of yourself, the divine energy, the universe will be on your side. It will send helpers to you to wait until you get the job that you truly deserve and that you will be happy with. You have to be bold. If you want to win in life, you must be bold, not afraid. And that's why I'm recommending to you to read the book on himself, Vivekananda's words. Yes, he was a monk. You don't plan to become a monk, that's fine. But in that book, you will see words that they will inspire you to be able to cease being a coward anymore. You will not be afraid of anything. You will be like an eagle in life. That is why I'm encouraging you to read that book. And especially if you want to become a leader and influence people in a good way, you must read that book. And as I said, as a scientist I have seen that most of my colleagues, they have a hard time to see the relationship between physical and non-physical science. Most of my colleagues say physical science is something else than non-physical science. These two things cannot merge, they cannot marry, they cannot live together. And that's why we have the problems we have today in the world. Because if we see that everything is one, and they must collaborate, cooperate, and live together, physical and non-physical ideas, then there will not be any problem in the world. So your university is one of the very, very few universities in the world that merges the two aspects of life, physical and non-physical. Your teachers are not afraid to do that merging. In other universities, if you do it, you're out, you're fired. You will have a very hard time. But here, you are very lucky to be in a place that your teachers are allowed to do this merging on physical and non-physical science. There are so many even experiments today that they confirm all the conclusions of thousands of years of great sense, what they were talking about non-physical science. Today we know, the physical scientists, that what they were saying is not just hot air, it's reality. You go to quantum theory, you see exactly what they were saying. You see a match of what the non-physical science, the great sense said thousands of years ago. We today see it by doing experiments. But still, physical science today in the world, they have a really hard time to see that merging. So I invite you, and you should do it because you graduate from a university that's what it's doing, to really propagate this idea, the balance between these two worlds, which we have separated in most universities. And that is why we cannot make a big difference. We just try to fix something and we make it worse. Many times. So I want you to feel free to ask any questions you might have. I will try to see if I can answer them. Hopefully, you will ask questions. Well, let's answer this question first, and then we go to the second one. All right? So the question is, what are you telling us about compassion? Out there, this world is ruthless. If you are compassionate, they will run over you. They will just step on you, right? Well, not exactly like that. A truly compassionate person has become also a wise person. He will not allow anyone to step on herself or on himself. A truly compassionate person, not pseudo-compassionate person, is equipped with extreme degree of wisdom and boldness. And he's not afraid, she's not afraid to swing the sword when he needs to be. Is not afraid to bark like the dog when somebody is coming against. Is not timid and coward and fearful and run. No. I didn't read this. I have experienced this for many years in my life in the West. Many times. People would tell me, there is no way you can do this. Even if you go to the best lawyer, you can't. Because you stupidly believed and signed these papers, it's the end of the story now. I said, really? Let's see. Okay? And a lot of warlike situations. The moment you die yourself and you say, I will do this and I'm doing this for others, there is no way, never, that you will not succeed. It's a matter of a short time. The only thing that you need to have as a requirement is, I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for others. You will pay your bills, you will be comfortable financially, you will be happy, and you will be extremely strong. Nothing can touch you. Nothing. No one will dare to come and step over you. When they will go in front of you, they will bow down to you. And yesterday, they were fighting you. Why? Because you are not against them. You are against what they're doing wrong. And that's a great separation. If you can take away yourself to be attached to your feelings towards them, if you can achieve not to be entangled into that, there is no power in the universe that can touch you. And try it and see. But the requirement is, I become selfless first. Out of compassion, because I see them, what they're doing is so wrong. They're hurting people, they're hurting themselves, they're hurting their families. And I feel compassion for them. But I'm not going to allow them to rule and step on me and destroy me. No, because I know that which is in me is greater than which is in their mind. What is in my heart is greater than which rules their minds. I know this, and you should know it too. You had a question? How can we use the
How can we change that?
loud so people can hear it in the video?
How can we change that person who is backstabbing us to the positive way of thinking, to positive way of thinking in our vision which we are?
Change that person? Who are you to change people? Who do you think you are? Why do you want to change people? Yes, you want to change people because you want to see a better world, right? That's not my business and your business to change people. Gandhi's very, very popular saying is, you become the change you want to see in the world. Okay? Type it, print it, and put it in the door of your room. So other students will see it and they will remember it. And also yourself. The moment you try to change other people, you are in a worse state situation. No one wants to change by somebody else. No one wants to change his belief system because you tell them yours is better. Immediately you have created enemies. And it took me years for me to figure it out. You know, when I came to Amma, I understood her teachings and all this. I tried to change my family members or, people around me. Forget it. The only thing you will make is war. Nothing will happen. Things will get worse. If you truly, truly believe what you understand is of value, then let it be all the way within you, and that will spring out light, acceptance, embracing, love, compassion, wisdom, power, incredible strength. They will see it. They will notice it. There is no way they will not notice it. If they are ready, they will be converted slowly, not overnight. Maybe all their lives will take to change. It's not a switch overnight. No, it takes many years. If they are ready and they're in the path of seeking, yes, they will start following you. They will start following the spirit that has changed you. Because it's not you, it's a spirit. They will start doing things that you're doing because they see it works for them. If they are having an attitude of doing it. If they don't have an attitude of doing it, it's better to be left alone. You will have some peace around you, otherwise you will have war. In some countries, if you do that, they might send you into a mental institution. or they might send you into jail. Oh yes, it's happening to millions of people. The moment they find something good, they try to impose it to the people around them, they get into big trouble. Big trouble. Any other question? You must have some questions. Something about your school. Now you must have some questions about your college years. You must be questioning what are you going to do after you graduate. You must have some doubts, some fears, some... What are they? We would like to know.
Sir, how easy it is to forget oneself and help others? Because, see, once we are helping someone continuously, or others who are in need of help, see, you might do it 10 times, you might do it 20 times. The next time, when you are gutted, you expect the same from others too, right? So how can you control your expectations of others and be compassionate at the same time?
If I have the attitude that I'm going to go out in the world and help people, right, and do things, it's not going to work. There is an element of ego there. There is an element of arrogance. I'm better than you. Oh, poor guy, you need help. And if I start doing it again and again and again, at the end I'm going to really become depressed. Why? Because I'm not doing it out of selflessness. I'm doing it just to feel good by doing something. And there is not much power there. There is power for maybe a few weeks, days, months, but at the end you will become depressed. Why? Because if you have the tendency to go and help people from within, these expectations are there, you like it or not. There are expectations. And most of the people you will help, they will not repay you back. In fact, some of them, they will strike your face. They will really push you out, even if you really love them and help them. So what are you going to do? You will be depressed. It will be good if you don't get angry. But certainly you will become sad. Sadness is a form of depression. Sadness is a form of anger. It's not that much of anger, but it's really anger. If it's not control, it will become to anger. So we need to realize that in our presence, people are helped because we surrender to the divine energy, to God, whatever you call it. You merge with the highest part of yourself. You embrace with your mind the highest part of yourself, and you become a pipe that the water goes through. You become the hand of the divine. Let the divine do the work through you, because this understanding comes at certain moments in your life that there are very important moments, and I'm going to describe to you these two moments that happened to me actually in India. That is why, for me, this place is very, very important and beloved, because these two very basic realizations that came to me, they came to me when I was in India at the ashram, Amas ashram. I never saw a cremation because I come from a culture that when somebody dies, they bury him in a grave, they do not burn his body or her body. I was always curious to see this ritual, ceremony, whatever. So what happened is a few years ago when I was at the ashram, there was a funeral. And then the relatives would walk a little bit farther and they would cremate the body. So I was very scary and pretending I'm a relative, so they will not tell me where are you going. So I would follow and go there and watch. Okay, I saw the whole thing. It was no big deal what I saw. But in the morning I was curious to see what has remained. Just like from the physical state of, is there any bones, is all ash? I was just curious, like a scientist, okay? So I went there in the morning, and I'm looking at the red charcoals. I see no bones, I see nothing. And then I start thinking, why in the world I'm here? Why did I come to India again? Okay? What's the point of me being here, coming back again? What's the point of having a family and doing my studies? some existential questions came to my mind, and I'm looking at the ocean, and I start crying for no reason. And the question comes from within me in this state. I was completely alone. There was nobody there early in the morning. And the question from within was, why I was born? Why I was born in this life? Why I'm here? What I'm doing here? Death is one split second away from me. Any moment I can go. So what's the point being here on earth? And that little conviction comes from within you and says, you are here to love and to be loved. It's a different thing me to tell you that. It's a different thing to read in a book. But imagine if you have this experience all the way down to the subatomic particles of your cells. Because that moment, the highest part of yourself is speaking to your mind. And there's no way you can avoid that to listen to it. So that's the first thing that I heard coming from the center, which my center is your center, and it's the center of everyone. The second time was again a funeral, and again a cremation, and again I went to see the cremation. I was about a couple of years after that. And I did exactly the same thing again. I went again. I went again in the morning, you know, just to say maybe I'll have another experience. So I went there. Nobody was there again. I went in the morning. Again, the same thing, you know, charcoals, red charcoals, no bones. And this time, because I come to India to seek within me. I don't come for tourism. That's why I stay in the ashram. I never really went to see other places in India. Might happen sometime in the future. But when I go there, I just stay there. I don't travel. Because I want to do inner work, not just see sceneries. So, again, the same thing happened. I was listening to the waves, looking outside, and again, tears came to my eyes because I was trying to help my students for mental health issues for years at my place. And there were a lot of challenges from many, many different directions. And I was kind of down because I would see some of them, they would get the help, but many of them, they would not really, no matter what I would do, how much I would love them and help them, I would see that there was not much really progress. I would not see much difference. So I was down. I had good expectations, but it doesn't matter if it's bad expectations, good expectations. You should not have any expectations. Why? Because you will get depressed. You will lose your strength. You will not be able to help yourself, and therefore you will not be able to help anybody. So when I was in that state of complete sadness that all these beloved students of mine come to my mind, that I see them struggling, I see them quitting university and never come back, I see them getting into big troubles because of psychological issues, I hear from within me, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Here we have infinity, right? Infinite time and space. You come for a picosecond, you're just how many feet tall? What can you do? Look at the ocean. Look at the infinite sky. Who do you think you are? You think that you are actually really helping your students? You must be kidding. Come on, come out of your confusion and know that I am the mover and I am the doer, not you. That's what I heard from within me. I heard that, forget about it. You are not the mover and the doer. I am the one if you let me go through you. If you submit to me, if you merge and let me go through you, then I will do the work that is needed. But just take yourself out of it, please. That's what I heard. So I described to you two very powerful experiences that I had in India by going to the cremation grounds in the morning, and this is that I heard. You're here to love and to be loved, and you don't think that you're a mover and a doer. You're not. Like I said, you must be seekers of experiences that they will stay forever with you. You should not be lazy or afraid to seek new experiences, because this is the only way to really know yourselves and to become truly happy and successful. By reading books, listen to lectures like you came to me now, it's great. You get some help. But that's not the ultimate. The ultimate is to hear the highest part from within yourself talking to your mind. And that happens in times of stillness, silence. You take yourself away from the busy time, from your classes, from family, from noise. Just go to a place that helps you to go into that inner stillness. In the beginning, you need the physical outer stillness to be able to get that inner stillness. You just need it. There's no way you can really do it when you're a beginner. You need that time. You need that space. You need that place. And it will not come like this. You need to go and construct it, Go to a place that is remote, like I did that morning, okay? Or there's many ways to do it. Go to a temple, sometimes that nobody's there. There is places, go in nature, one of the best, if not the best. Go in nature by yourself. Try to talk to yourselves. Try to talk to yourselves. Listening to others and talking to others all the time, the only thing that brings is confusion. Because most of us are confused, isn't true? So we need to really look within to get the pure water, the pure stuff. Eat the pure stuff, drink the pure stuff from within us.
Notion that's within us.
I think you are pretty lucky, and I'm lucky. You're pretty lucky you come from India, and I'm pretty lucky I come from Greece. And I tell you why. And it's not just these two countries, there's other countries too, that they have these family values I'm talking about. I survived in the West for 40 years. Family, 2 daughters, blah, blah. And the reason is because I made my mind, even when I was a student and I had $36,000 loan as a graduate student, to go every summer to see my parents, my grandparents, whoever was alive. I never missed one summer to go back, and like a pilgrimage, to go to our village house, go to the basement, and basically bow down to the memories that I had with my family. During these visits, I never felt that I will not be accepted or embraced by my family, my parents, in case that I stay without a job. I knew that if I lose my job or I have no money, I will always be embraced and accepted in their house for as long as it takes until I get on my feet and get a job. They never told me that, but I knew it was true. And I never needed. But just to know it is true, I had the strength to overcome incredible obstacles in the West. And I know this is true for India, not just Greece, and many other countries, that they have not become so materialistic. So, you have that. Almost all of you have that. You know that you do not have to be in a hurry to go and be chosen by an employer. You should choose the employer and say, this job is not for me. It is offered to me, it's a high salary, but I know this is not for me. I'm not going to do it just to pay the bills. I can wait for a while. I live with my parents or my friend. There is family values, cultural values that they support you to do that. In other countries, bad luck. You will have to go and get a loan. You will have to go to a government office to get food stamps, whatever. Because the family is not so intact as it is in other cultures. That is why you see so many people in depression and all these psychological challenges in the West. Because there is no community, there is not family joining together. So it is better to be patient, to know this job is not for me. I will not do it just for the money. I will not do it just because it's a great job. I will take my time to find something that goes according to my values, according to my psychological, physical, intellectual needs, and that I can use my true talents. Not the talents that are just fake, and then I'll compare myself with other people that are more successful and become jealous and afraid that I might lose my job. There are jobs waiting for you that you will be blissful. You should not be afraid to wait for a while until you get them. The reason is if you get something that it's not for you, it's very hard to get out. It is very painful to get out. Most people don't dare to do it, and then they live a life of misery. So again, you should feel bold, strong enough. You have family to support you. This kind of thing in India is still in a very good shape. You should not be in a hurry and do something just for the money, just for the security. You're doing it because when you are there, you feel like so comfortable and beautiful. You feel like light's coming from you. The people around you, they respect you, love you. You really feel like you belong there. Not just for the money or security. That's a very wrong reason to do it. If you think you're strong enough, do it for a while and then jump out. But not many people are strong enough to do that. When they go in, they don't dare to get out. The salary increases come, you buy a house, you start having a wife, a husband, and kids, forget it. Most people say, I cannot get out now. And what do you do for hobby? Oh, I do this, and I do this, and I do that. Why don't you do these hobby things that you do as a job? So you'll be always having vacation. I resigned 3 times in my lifetime from very high-paying jobs, permanent jobs. Dow Corning. Dow is the largest chemical company in the United States. Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. My salary, 1998, almost $100,000. And a university. All 3 times, I was not kicked out. I walked out and said, this place is not for me. This is not according to my values. This job does not make me happy. It just gives money. I have a lot of savings. I buy things. Not for me. Thank you. See you later. I did it 3 times in my life. But I observed that most people, when they go into these jobs, they don't have the strength to jump out. They live a miserable life all until they retire. And they talk always about retirement. You can hear them. I will retire and I will do this and do that. How many do you think after they retire, they have the strength to do it? Most of them are sick, or they feel like doing nothing, and then after a while they die. No. When I retire from my chemical sciences, I start a new life. I start even a more vigorous and beautiful life. That's the way I feel. Because I have not stopped to be a learner, to look for possibilities to give to people and to society. I'm not going to sit around on a couch and do like this, my fingers, to talk about what kind of medicine I take because of what kind of pains I have. No. And I don't wish you to become like this. I wish you that you will be, until very old age, very active, very compassionate, like a light in the world. Because that is why you came. And you were born in India. Okay. So we have one more question to take. Which is the lucky one? To get the last question. If not, then we will close here and we'll continue many years to come. Because I will be in your minds and you will be in my mind. See your faces. I will always remember them. And you will never forget our discussion and conversation today. Even if you want to forget it, you will not be able to forget it. You know that. And I know this. So I wish you the best and see you around.
Om Namah Shivaya. Few days back, Mr. Krishnan approached me and Dr. Somnath to arrange talk by Dr. Andreas. And both of us were confused why we want our students to interact with a chemistry scientist which has extraordinary research background. And then we had a conversation and we were about to reject this offer of having this colloquium. But generally we invite people from industry to have a conversation with our students. And then Mr. Krishnan walked in our office and we were very reluctant to arrange this talk. Then Mr. Andrews was sitting in next building. I walked. Dr. Somnath said, why don't you have a word with him? I walked, and I thought I will meet him and have a conversation for 5 minutes. But it went more than an hour. Dr. Andreas has extraordinary experience dealing with mental health of students in USA campus. I was surprised to know that when he shared with me the statistics that 50% students who are registered in US universities to get undergrad degrees don't complete their undergraduation program. It's very pathetic statistics. That is not here. Then we had conversation about mental health, suicide problems of students, and so many issues. Because in my previous students' days, I have seen the suicide issue. When your friend calls you and says that, I'm going to do suicide now, it's a very traumatic situation for you. That happened to me when I was a student. One of my friends called and told, I'm going to do suicide now. Then we had a lot of conversation about these issues. Some of the issues what he shared, his experience with students dealing with this type of cases. His learning is from that. An inner fight within him to deal with the world, to deal with the goodness and badness or whatever. We were very fortunate that he shared this with us. It may not make sense to you now, or some things may make sense to you now, and some is just again forced or imposed upon you. But as you grow in your life, as you grow in hierarchy, as you become a successful leader in corporate, you will realize that you are alone amidst 500 colleagues sitting in the room. You may be with 500 people, but still you are alone. And that time this will make more sense to you. When you are at a situation where your wife, your husband, or your parents or relatives are there, everybody smiling, celebrating, and still you are alone, this will make more sense to you. So Dr. Andreas, thank you so much for sharing this your valuable experience in your life as an individual, as a teacher, as a savior. Thank you so much.